Arnold suggested that I read an extract from his book, The Birth of a College, in which he describes an incident about which he says, "I describe a little incident which illustrates how a wise commanding officer and a prompt lieutenant could deal smoothly with an awkward situation without fuss or offence. I like to think this is the Van Mildert style, and I am glad to have contributed to it." Every year, we viewed the approach of Rag Week with some apprehension. The aim of collecting money for charity was admirable, and usually the escapades were well conducted and harmless. There was great rivalry among the colleges, and on several occasions Van Mildert was the most successful in bringing in revenue for a wide range of good causes. Though most of the larks and exploits were traditional and well tried, every year there were attempts to do something new. Occasionally someone thought of some madcap scheme that was injurious or downright dangerous, and I recall preventing one or two of these from being carried out. One year the Van Mildert organisers hit upon an original wheeze, a pirate radio. It was of course illegal, but as it would only last for 1 week and was unlikely to cause offence, there was no reason to expect trouble. The broadcasts were apparently popular and provided some entertainment. There is a tendency, however, for student jokes to be carried too far, and so it was in this case, when an announcer was foolish enough to boast that the station could not be detected or suppressed. Fortunately, somebody with common sense heard this challenge and informed the master, who realised immediately that the authorities would respond without delay. He asked the office to keep a lookout, and sure enough, within an hour, Mrs. Reed reported that a detection van had parked in Elvert Hill Road and that 2 officials were approaching. Dr. Prowse called me in and said, "If you will go and make them stop transmission and promise not to resume, I shall hold the men in conversation until you return." I rushed off and had little difficulty in discovering that the studio was in the room on the ground floor of Tees, for everyone in college was in on the secret. I went to the designated room, threw open the door to the alarm of the 2 operators at their turntable, saying, "You must switch it off at once and dismantle all your gear as officers have arrived to confiscate it." The threat was effective, for, as I learned later, the transmitter, which was installed on the top floor of Weir, had been borrowed unofficially from the science laboratories and was worth thousands of pounds. Its loss would have landed everyone concerned in a great deal of trouble. I went back to the master's room, where I found the 2 men sipping glasses of sherry and looking dazed as Dr. Prowse discussed with them the technicalities of detection. No doubt they knew their job, but they were clearly outclassed by an academic who was a qualified electrical engineer. I reported that the offending radio was off the air and there would be no more transmissions. "Now that your mission has been accomplished," said Dr. Prowse, "I assume you will not need to take any further action." The 2 men were delighted to have their business concluded so easily, and they were seen off the premises with mutual compliments. Then it was my turn to have a glass of sherry with the master.